Good morning, friends. Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I am just wrapping up adding a scene to today's live stream while some of you are getting on. And let me just add this here. I thought I could just play it right off of the YouTube browser, but it gave me a little bit of a hang up. So I downloaded it to my computer. And let's see here. Hope you're all doing well wherever you are. Hope you're having a cup of coffee, strong coffee. And let me go ahead and line up this special video that I have for you. I put it on my desktop. Here we go.
Well, anyone who's put a sump together knows.
All right, I'll show that to you in a second. So, how's the audio? How's the video? Give me a quick check. I'm going to change something in the lighting here while you do that. Hold on one second. All right. Okay, AV is great. Thank you, GP. I appreciate that. And I did hear that you called me an old man, and you're right. I'm a little old. Okay, so let's see here. YouTube keeps telling me to insert ads during the live stream. I don't know. I don't like that. What do you think? You know, right in the middle of a live stream, throw a commercial at you. You know, it's bad enough that I do a few commercials already. So, man, I've got a lot of good stuff for you today. Yeah, it's a good cup of coffee. Now, this was not an easy week, and it wasn't an easy week because of a few things. One was I uploaded the final installment, and there's no one to blame here except me, but I added I uploaded the final installment for the Seahorse Aquarium series. I know some of you have watched that series. I hope you enjoyed it. And after uploading it, someone commented, why is there music during the talking? And I usually don't do that unless the talking is very loud and the music is very faint in the background. I don't like to have music competing with talking, especially if there's a thick Irish accent, because it was hard enough to understand what was going on. And so I went ahead and after that video had already gotten 1,000 views, it was actually trending really, really well. And I did something that is probably not recommended. I took that video down because I just didn't like the fact that some of the music was out of sync. And then I re-uploaded it. Now, if anyone out there is a YouTube creator, you know how frustrating that is. And but at any rate, that was fine. Then I did the test on the Sump. Everything got done, and you're going to see a video about the details on that. The plumbing, the cementing, the setting up, and I fired it up, and I had some leaks in some very unusual places, in places I didn't expect, and it was frustrating. It was frustrating to have those leaks. So I had to get clever. I had to get clever on it and fix it, and you'll see in the special video that I prepared for you what I did. And it's handled. It's running right next to me. The pump's running. The sump is circulating. The water line is perfect. When I turn it off, the water that drains into the sump stays 4 inches from the top or 3 inches from the top. So it's dialed in. So a happy ending, and you'll see what actually occurred to bring that about. And it's not uncommon when you set up some plumbing, not uncommon to have some things turn up. There were a couple places that I knew were going to be a little dicey. Some of you warned me they'd be dicey, and I expected it. But it's when you get something you didn't expect, that's what surprises you. The tank is rock solid. No leaks on the tank, right? Thank God. Knock on wood for that, right? Because that would be a major problem. The stand is perfect. Everything is level, and it's just I'm starting to get like actually excited. It's actually starting to look like this tank could come together in the very near future. So, and I'll share with you some more of what the plans are for that. So let's take just a real quick look at who is here. And let's see here. Chris G. Hey, Chris G. Good you're here. Peas and Haps forever in Canada. Boy, I love Canada. So beautiful up there. And hey, Brandon is here. Sundar from India. Hello, Sundar. And Cat, hey, Cat Sailor. Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Joe. Sent a package out to you. Should be getting there any minute if you haven't gotten it already. And is that Michael Lotinero? Michael Lotinero. Hope I got your last name right. Hello, Ben, and everyone else here today. Hello to you as well. Hey, Angelo. Angelo Emily's here. And Z-Zip. Hey, Emin. Haven't seen you in a while, Emin. Hope you're doing great, buddy. You know, I thought about you when I was in London. And I was just so pressed, just going in and getting out. And I thought, man, should I call Emin? And I know he's out of London a while. Anyway, so you're on my mind there. And the chicken is in the house. Leo 209 Aquatics. Hey to you too. And hey Frank, buenos días amigo. ¿Cómo te encuentras? Hey and GP, I've said hi to you. John is here. And my great moderators. Big shout out to my great moderators. Davey Larson is here. And all right, let me go ahead and jump into things here, because people that watch the replay, they get real impatient. Then they leave comments like, I had to wait 6 minutes for something to show. People that don't go to a lot of live streams. I had to wait 3 minutes before. All right. Angela Miller, USC in the Big Ten. What a joke. Can't wait to see them in 10-degree. USC used to be the only team I had in California. Then now we got the Rams and the Chargers. Anyway, if you folks are track and field fans, watch the World Track and Field Championships. Unbelievable. I am a big fan. And so, okay. Hey, Inventory King. How are you, Paul? Good to see you, buddy. KG's in the house. Robert Egan is here. Frankie Fingers. All right. Love these names. Gala, Aquatics and Pets. All right, let's go ahead and get into it here. We've got over 100 people on here, and that's a good number, it looks like. No, it looks like 75. 109 views. Okay. Looks like 80. I don't know. Sometimes this thing lags. Window Liquor number 5 is... Window Liquor. What was there a number 1, 2, 3, 4? Is that why you had to get number 5? There were already 4 Window Liquors? That would be... that's kind of funny. All right. Now, stay tuned till the end, because I'm going to give you some information on a giveaway that's going to be for about $350 and stuff. So don't go away. I'm going to announce some information on that at the end. Mexicali Fish Keeper, hello, buddy. And let's see here. All right. So I have a special video for you that's going to give you the inside scoop on what actually happened with the sump. And let's go ahead and just get into that video right now. And what I want you to do is just go ahead and feel free to comment during the video. And I'll be watching some of the comments. And let's go ahead and get into that video. Hope you like it.
Well, anyone who's put a sump together knows that initially there's going to be some issues. There's going to be some things that need to be tweaked, and I certainly had that occur with my sump. It was a pretty interesting week, and it required some measures to get it. Well, anyone who's put a sump together knows that initially there's going to be some issues. There's going to be some things that need to be tweaked, and I certainly had that occur with my sump. It was a pretty interesting week, and it required some measures to get it to be watertight. The first area I had some problems with was one that I wouldn't have predicted, and that was with this particular what they call a union. These are unions, and they're sort of a godsend for people that are working on plumbing and sumps in particular, because what they do is they allow you to disconnect sections of your plumbing and then reconnect them without a problem. So if there was an issue in this section, I would only have to disconnect this, and then all of this I'd be able to work on all of this separately. And so this union was actually leaking from the top here, and water was just pouring down. I'll show you in the video. And so that was the first issue. Fortunately, I undid the union and added a little bit of silicone lubricant to the O-ring inside the union. Inside this union, there's an O-ring, and so I lubricated that, and then put a little lube on the threads, and then retightened it, and really got it tightened down, and that solved that issue. Then, interestingly enough, I had a little bit of a leak here at the top. This is called a gate valve, and this is what controls the flow of what's called the main line. This is the main line for draining this overflow box, is through this gate valve. So this is what you adjust to control the flow and the noise inside of the box. And there was a leak right up here, which really makes no sense to me. And there's no crack, there's no visible cracks. The only thing I can figure is that there's a channel. There's obviously some channel inside of here. It's a very short distance. This is a short distance to push a pipe into something. Usually what you push in is a little bit further than that. So I don't know, maybe I didn't get enough of, you push in and then you twist and then you hold it in place for about 30 seconds because it can swell and push out a little bit. And maybe I just didn't get it in far enough, but there was a little bit of water forming up here, and that's a tough one because it's glued, it's cemented, right? So it's not like it's not like being able to unscrew and fix it again. So with that, I had to use an old just an old reefer's trick. I just had to use the silicone, the clear aquarium silicone. And just sort of seal it, right? Just seal it along the edge here. And I did that same thing. I put a little bit of sealant on this area here. There's some sealant. There's a little rubber gasket or seal that is there's one here and there's one on the inside of the tank. Those have a little bit of silicone on them, and there's a little bit of a silicone on the inside threads of this, and I did the same thing over here. There's some silicone on the inside threads and on the gasket on both sides of on the gasket on the inside and on the outside gasket. There's also gaskets inside here. There are gaskets. There's a gasket right here on the part that you screw down to get the box attached to the tank. There's a gasket here, and there's a gasket also on the inside of the tank, right between this overflow box that you see here and this box here. This is the gyre that sucks the water in, right? This is called the gyre, and that joins to this outside box. So these gaskets have aquarium silicone on them as well, just to super seal them. That's not an uncommon step taken. If you watch people building sumps like for reefs and stuff on YouTube, you'll see that a good number of them they'll use a little bit of silicone on the gaskets. So those were the key points. Those were the hot spots, and I think we've got it nailed down now, so that it runs dry.
When you're putting your plumbing together, the first thing you do is you put it together dry. In other words, uncemented, and just make sure everything fits and looks the way you want it to. Make sure the sizes are right, and make sure the connections are, just make sure that they make sense. Once you're confident with that, you can go ahead and start the cementing process. But before you do that, you have to make sure that the pieces are going to fit together perfectly. And an important step to take in doing that is to what is called deburring, or preparing the edges of the pipes so that they can be so that they join very nicely together. Whenever you cut a pipe, there's going to be a little bit of swelling at the edge, at the actual cut, and so you want to work that down and make sure there are no burrs or no high spots that could actually create a channel for water to travel through once you've joined the pieces together. So this is probably the most labor-intensive part of the whole process, and that is, taking these pipes, getting rid of any burrs or high spots, so that the pipes fit together nice and snug. Now I'm doing it here a little bit the hard way with a sand block, and there's also tools you can use. There's different things you can do that make it a lot easier. They even have handheld deburring tools that you can use that work very, very well. Here I am using one on a 1-inch return pipe, and it cuts off all of the bigger pieces, and then you still need to sort of touch it up by hand just to make sure it's as smooth as it should be. This tool actually deburrs both on the inside and the outside, so you end up with a very nice sort of beveled edge on the pipe. So when you push it up after adding the primer and the cement, it slides very, very smoothly into place. Then you give it a quarter twist and hold it for about 30 seconds, and so that it doesn't push out when the PVC swells up a little bit, which is common when you join pieces. And so you get it, it doesn't have to be absolutely, rocket spaceship perfect, but really get it so that it just looks good, and it looks like it's going to give you a nice seal. Once that's done, you're ready to start the cement process, and I decided this time to go with a clear primer and a clear cement, as opposed to the one that has the blue coloration to it. Usually the blue is so that if an inspector comes and looks at your PVC piping in your home, they can tell that it was put together correctly. We're not doing that, and we're not going to have a home inspector come check out the aquarium. So we can go with clear, and it's going to look a lot more neat at the end of the job. I really recommend that you do only one joint at a time, because the primer and the cement work very, very quickly. And I've tried to do 2 or 3 at once, like primer them all and then glue them all. And by the time I get to the last one, it's just not good. It's too dry. You can't really push it all the way into place. So just be patient, take your time, and just work one section at a time. making sure that you get each section in the best possible position, pushing all the way in, turning slightly, and then holding for anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds, just making sure that it doesn't push out as the PVC swells a little bit from the primer and the cement. I continued this process over a two-day period, and I ended up with all of the pieces I needed to put together the sump. I then let everything sit for a couple of days before actually running some water through it. But you can see the pieces were coming together and looking like what was going to go from the overflow box into the sump. This is the gate valve. Synergy recommends the use of gate valves on the main drain line coming down from the box to the sump. These unions, as I mentioned before, are sort of a lifesaver for folks doing the plumbing, and I tried to use as many of them as I could practically. Like where this actual output that dumps into the sump points, that doesn't need to be glued in any particular direction, because with that union I can loosen the union and point it in any direction I want. When setting up a Geyer overflow system, it's important that everything be perfectly level, and that includes the box on the outside and also the Geyer on the inside. And this one was perfectly level. As a matter of fact, the entire tank is reading out very, very level.
I'm using Loctite on the return. These are Loctite, very easy to control. You can point them any direction you want. And I keep them right near the surface so that in the event of a power outage, or I unplug the pump, air is going to get in there and that's going to break the siphon. So between that and between that and these one-way valves, I'm not going to get a big back siphon into the tank, apart from what is going to spill over from the Geyer. So I've plugged it in. You can see the noise level when you open this up, how noisy that is. So I'm still adjusting that, but when you put the lid on, it really quiets it down. So it and you also tweak it with this. You can kind of tune the sound using this thing. Let's take a look here. And the way to do it is to inspect it with preferably with a bright light. All right, so that's looking dry. That's one of the areas that was a hot spot. Actually, the only hot spot I had was that one there. That was the one that was left, and that looks real dry. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay dry. You got to let this thing run for a while before you're convinced. This union is perfect now. After I put a little bit of silicone grease on the O-ring, this one's never been a problem. And then you check at the low spots to see if there's any moisture. Like if there was a leak, you'd see it here at the bottom. You know, you'd see it at the lowest area of each fixture. Those two unions look perfect. No water coming out of them. And the two pipes inside there going into that massive 7-inch sock look good. So look here at the bottom of this. This looks good. No drips. No drips at all. Bone dry all along here. See the valve. Valve is open. Water's flowing. Joins are secure. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's let this thing run. The only areas I see now that have any look of water are just areas where I might have gotten a little bit of glue or cement, and so they're a little shiny. They give you the impression there might be water running, but it's not water. It's just a little bit of cement that's on there. I used clear cement, which I love the way it looks. It doesn't give you those blue streaks on the plumbing. But yeah, that all looks rock solid. No moisture at all. Man, I can't wait to get this beast going. Look at that surface area. Massive. I've got the glass tops for it, and I've got the lighting. I've got a real nice, huge JCP light. I've got also some Hydra lights, and I've got some heaters from Aqua. I can increase the level of the sump. I'm going to test it up to that blue piece of tape right there. I'll test it up to there and then turn everything off. And that gives me enough room for backflow, back siphon, so that the tank then empties out into the sump and still gives me 4 or 5 inches of extra room at the top. Maybe fill it a little bit higher. I might even put a baffle in here. We'll see. You can buy baffle kits for a 40 breeder. Maybe I'll put a baffle kit in there. Give me a little bit more water height. 2 C-shape pumps. Got 2 pumps in case one fails. The other one handles the load. As quiet as can be. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's let this thing run overnight. In the meantime, let's take a look at the fish. I'll give you an update on the aquariums and how the fish are doing. Let's take a quick look at that. The keyhole cichlid continues to be really shy. There he is, kind of between the cave and the wall, pretending to be invisible. There's a pleco inside of that cave. I don't think he's harassing the keyhole cichlid at all, but he's in there somewhere, probably stuck on the top. So he came out and munched on one of his wafers a little bit. Little pleco wafer. And the 2 little rummy nose that are in here are looking really good. They're going to be transferred over, of course, to the 29, so I'll have a group of 5 rummy nose. I just love the way they school. This tank here, we'll come back to it because it looks like the fire mouth is hiding. He'll come out a little bit. He's been less shy recently. There's that green tear. Beautiful little guy, very active, eating really, really well. Someone pointed out that he's growing really slow. Might be. Maybe he's a little runt. I don't know. But he sure is pretty. There's the electric blue Ochart. Just a beast. Reminds me a little bit of that giant green tear I used to have. The way you can make out each scale on his body. Probably pushing 5.5 inches maybe, I guess. Maybe 5 inches or so. There's a whiptail or an armored cat who likes to hang out under the heater. You can make him out a little bit right there. There's also a panda in here somewhere, and a Cory cat hanging out. There's the panda back there. Really cute fish. Has suction cups he's able to stick to the walls. Need to find out more about him. But seems to be thriving. Over here in the 90-gallon, everybody's looking good. Waiting for me to feed them. Chocolate cichlid. There's Jack Dempsey, female. Nicaragua, female. Beautiful coloration. Chocolates can look a little bit in body shape like an Oscar. There's the Salvini, the red shoulder, AC Heckelei, or threadfin. See the threads, the back of the dorsal, little red threads. Suryaminensis, Geophagus suryaminensis, getting bigger. They get pretty big. I think these get over 7 inches. Good size for a geo. Over in the little mini tank over here, got those 2 cherry barbs. Unfortunately, Gary, my snail, passed away. I heard they get old and they die. Don't know how long their lifespan is. But he didn't move for a good while. And then when I pulled him out, he didn't smell too good. These 2 guys are pretty happy. Funny how the one on the left is such a deeper red. Maybe that's a male? I don't know. If you know about that, share it in the comments. I get a carpet of a green algae in here. I do want to put a pleco. The last pleco I put in here, though, jumped. I found him as a crispy critter on the floor. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to better seal the top of this tank and then put another pleco in there. Mr. Mustard gas blue betta, doing very well. I've been tempted to change him out, put him into a slightly different or bigger tank, but he's doing so well on this one. Why mess with success, right? Here's the 29-gallon. We've got red serpes in here. We've got lemons. Here are the 3 rummy noses that are there's going to be 5 of them in about a month when I bring those other 2 over from quarantine. A couple green laser cories. I'd like to get some more cories. I think a group of 5 would be great. There's a little ember tetra that survived from a group of 4 or 5 that I had. They didn't make it, along with some neons. I don't know why, but didn't quite make it. But this tank has now become a little more seasoned. Has a lot of those pagoda snails. I don't mind them. I actually like them a lot. So I like the fact that they're duplicating. Boy, that one's pretty big. Every pagoda snail you see in here, except for the very, very large one I call Mama, they were all born in this tank. So they're putting on some good size. This old school filter from Sarah really works really well. I'm really happy with it. And what I've done is I'm running that filter, just like I'm running the sponge filter in the little 8-gallon. I'm running it off of one of these lithium battery pumps. So in the event of a power failure, you know, that'll run for 48 hours. So I don't have any worries. I don't worry about this in case of a power failure because the main thing is oxygen, and bettas will just go up to the surface and get air, right? So this one is on a lithium battery this is one of those cobalt ones, Rescue Air. And then I have one over here by Aqua. This is an Aqua lithium battery powered, and it's running both the sponge filter, little teeny sponge filter from Aquarium Co-op, and also this Airstone in the 90. So if there's a power outage, at least the 90 is still getting some surface tension breakup. So let's take a look over here at the baby pleco tank. Yep, as soon as I approach, they all dart for that little hole in the driftwood. There's one little teeny one over here next to that mountain of pleco poop. I'll be cleaning that out probably this weekend. I think there's about 20 of them in here, including a few albinos. I've seen a few albino ones in there. Very, very cute. Anyway, maybe we'll catch them later. There's a hole in the bottom of that wood, and they all just scurry in there when I approach the tank. Did I forget to show you the 210? These guys are all going to be going into that 300. They're all going to have a new home. Of course, I'm a little reluctant, right, when things are going so good. These fish are also vibrant and healthy. I might bring over the FX6 from this tank and just hang it on the back of that 300. So I'll have the FX6 and the Sump. And then just leave the Sump on this one. Maybe add the Sun 704B to this. We'll see. We'll see. But when these fish get transferred over, I'll bring over some media that's in the Sump currently under this tank, including a bag of crushed coral, and I'll bring over the FX6. That should bring over a lot of beneficial bacteria, along with all of the substrate that's going to be transferred. All of this aragonite and black sand mix is going to go over to the 300, and then this is going to get some river rock, some nice river rock, like Peace River rock from Carib Sea. Whereas the 300, which you can't see really well because it's not lit, but the 300 is going to have a base of crushed coral, and then the substrate from the 210 on top of it. And then some, probably I'll bring over these same rocks, or maybe pick up some more rocks like these Siru, or whatever they're called. I love rocks with these stripes in them, natural occurring markings on them. Love the colors on this bicolor 500. For some reason, the Tangerine Tiger was chasing him the other day, but it doesn't look like he really did much. I don't see much fin damage. So Plastochromis Johnson, they used to call them solos. Not sure if they still refer to them as solos. Leucochromis spectabilis, just a beauty. And of course the Autopharynx tetrastigma, one of my favorite all-time fish. You know that. Look at that trout. Holy moly. More colors are showing up on the sand diver. Beautiful fish. Gets a metallic, sort of a metallic sheen to his body. There's my little Venusus. Beautiful blaze on that Venusus. Growing a little slow, but I'm sure he'll get there, along with that living stone eye, the two Nimbochromis that I have in here. Look at that Tangerine Tiger. Can you believe that? Well, looks like my wave maker just turned on. I have it on for an hour It goes on for an hour every like 4 or 5 hours, and then it's off all night while they sleep. But it always comes on when I'm filming. That way it suspends a lot of junk into the tank. The Stragatus. Turquoise hap. Look at the lips on that gar. And Cygnus, just a beautiful fish.
Hey, there's one.
I stand far away and put the camera on telephoto. I can sometimes catch them. There's one up on the log right there. 2 of them. They're so cute. Well, there's a tank and fish update, and this tank keeps running with no leaks. It's even quieting down a little bit. I think some of the air is working out of the system. So fingers crossed, I'm gonna let it run overnight. I'm still gonna leave the towels on the floor just in case. And I'll certainly give you an update on Saturday morning during the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. All right, thank you, my friends.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. A little lengthy, but got the message across. For those of you that tuned in late, there was a section on the sump, on the plumbing and the sump setup, the leak issues that I ran into, so you can catch the replay. I'm wondering, hold on one second, let me check something. Okay, I'm going to share something with you that I'm not sharing with anybody, and it is a link. If you want to watch that video that I just played, so you can watch the section on the sump all by itself, or you can watch the update on the fish, or any combination thereof. You can download it. You can do whatever you want with it. Just go ahead and copy this link, which you have to have to see a video that is designated as private on YouTube. This is a private video on YouTube, but if you have the link, you can access it. So there's the link. I just shared it. You can go ahead, copy and paste that into your navigation bar, your URL, and you'll be able to access that video. I'll just leave it up there on YouTube, designated as private, so the public can't just generally see it. It has no tags, no comments, no commercials, no links in the description, nothing. It's just a raw uploaded video, and sometimes I use YouTube that way as a sort of editing tool, and so check that out if you want. Now, I do have some giveaway items that I want to talk with you about. I think you're going to like. And before I get into that, though, here, let me get... if you're new and you like the channel and you haven't already done so, I think 30% of my viewers are subscribed. Be sure to hit that sub button. It really helps. We're shooting for 50,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. A big shout out to the Cichlids Shack, James Largo at the Cichlids Shack, the sponsor, official sponsor of my channel. I have a minor co-sponsor. I consider him a minor co-sponsor. The Aquarium Co-op helps me out, sends me stuff. So, but my major sponsor, my key sponsor, is the Cichlids Shack. Use Shack Attack 10 for food and equipment and products and all that good stuff. Extreme, Pisces energetics, whatever you need. 10% off. Use Shack Attack 10. That's my code for my channel. Also use Shack Attack 15 if you order fish and the order is over $100. It doesn't apply to shipping. He doesn't charge you or make money on shipping. He simply passes the cost directly to you. And I actually think he loses money because his cost of packing materials, I just found out, almost doubled. So take advantage before he raises those prices. And Shack Attack 10 or Shack Attack 15. Also,
Well,
a
anyone
very
who's put a
a
sump
very
together
big
knows
shout
that
out.
the
Let me get rid of that video. A very big shout out to my channel Patreon members. Those of you who've become Patreons, that support really helps. And I can tell you with complete honesty that if I didn't have this Patreon support, these supporters that you see right here, these projects that are going on would be much slower because they cost a lot of money. I mean, like I mentioned before, I have $200 in sponges, in mat and sponges, about $200 in crushed coral, and a couple $100 in pumps. It just adds up and adds up and adds up. So at any rate, thank you so much to my Patreon members, and also to you super chatters. Thank you so much. That really helps as well. And of course, everyone who subscribed and watches the video. If you'd like to support the channel, use the Amazon link to get to my Amazon channel. If you shop on Amazon, use that link to get to Amazon. Whether you buy something from my store or not, it gives a credit to the channel, and it doesn't increase your cost at Amazon. Also, if you want to pick up some swag, some t-shirts, some hoodies, some tank tops, go to my Teespring store, and there's the link for that, and pick up some good stuff. Now, I'm coming up with a new t-shirt. I want to run it by you. You tell me what you think. I was walking around a farmer's market with my wife, and we kept stopping, and then people would get kind of held up behind us because it was so crowded. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to come up with a t-shirt that says, "Caution, I stop for fish stores," and just put that on the back. Or, "Caution, I stop for tropical fish," or, "Caution, I stop for aquariums." What do you think would be the best thing to put on the back of a t-shirt? "Caution, I stop for local fish stores." Help me with the wording on that. I'm going to create a new t-shirt and put it up at the Teespring store. So, all right, that's some of the commercial blurbs there. So I think I got everything and everybody, and of course a big shout out to my wonderful moderators: Vibes Aquatics, GP, John Wallace, KG when he shows up, right? He's also a moderator, and Jerry's Fish Room. I'm not sure if Jerry's in here today, but and Denny, Dennis Riddell. I've got great moderators, and love them, and they're just wonderful. So big shout out to them as well. So if you folks have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I will go ahead and go over the chat, but also I want to share with you some things that we're going to be giving away in the very near future. The first thing is this. Do you remember when I was away for 10 days, I talked a little bit about being able to watch our tanks while we're away, and I found a product. They reached out to me, and this is a company called Yeskimo, Yeskamo, Yeskimo. And this is a solar battery security camera that you can put outside of your property. And I'm going to be using one outside of my property, and then they have one that just is on lithium batteries for the inside, and I'm probably going to hang it on the wall, maybe above the "Beware of Cichlid" sign, and that will help me keep an eye on the fish room using my phone. You download an app, and then you connect the camera to your home system, to your home internet, and anywhere in the world you can log in and see what's happening. So we're going to go ahead and I believe probably in 2 weeks I'll put out something in writing. We'll go ahead and give out one of these to a lucky viewer. I think they run about somewhere between $60 and $80 on Amazon. And I've talked to you in the past about algae scrubbers. Algae scrubbers are a way of harnessing algae. Now, I'll give you the full pitch here. This is, I'm going to talk to you about the Hog 2X, hang-on glass 2X, freshwater hang-on glass, upflow algae scrubber with what they call green grabber. Green grabber. And it has a retail price of $269. These things are not cheap. They're built to last. They eliminate, they claim that they eliminate water changes. I'd still do some water changes just for remineralizing the water, but you can certainly extend your water changes. The one I was running on the tank in Los Angeles, the 100-gallon African cichlid tank, was running at 10 parts per million on nitrates with this unit hanging on it. Removes nuisance algae because it consumes all the nutrients that algae would need, and it helps nitrate and phosphate reduction. So because it's consuming, it's providing an environment that consumes that, and it allows you to cultivate algae. So you can actually then remove the algae from the algae scrubber and feed it to your fish, which I used to do, and the fish would absolutely go crazy on it. And this is the unit. I'm going to be putting one of these. One of these goes into the sump under the 300-gallon, and then another unit is going to go in your aquarium if you're the winner of this $260 some odd unit that will be given away in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. This thing has an unbelievably powerful magnet that holds it to the glass. This is called algae grabber technology. It's just a very rough surface, and you have oxygen. You have a hose in there, and it runs bubbles through the unit to oxygenate the heck out of it. And then on the opposite side, you have the optimum frequency of lights to produce the growth of algae. Those are specially dialed in, special frequency that is optimum for algae growth. You've got to keep these cardboard pieces between the units or it'll snap your fingers. The battery is so strong. But at any rate, so one goes into my sump and one will go into your aquarium if you win. So stay tuned for that. Nice little giveaway. Now, the light that I'm going to be using on the 300, I'm probably going to use this light here, which is made by a company called Aqua, which is the high end of Higer. This is an Aqua light. It's pretty big, maybe over 40 inches. Gives you reds, blues, whites, and a very, very, very simple control. So this will be the light, the main light, and then I'll probably complement that with two of the Higer lights where you can control the intensity individually of red, white, and blue. And so that's what'll light the 300. And then I'm going to pick up a heavy-duty controller and plug two heaters. One of them is this heater. This will go inside the sump. This is a titanium heater from my friends over at Higer. I have one running in the 210, a smaller version, and it works really, really well. This is the 902. There goes my beagle. Hey, Jack. What's up, Jack? Probably UPS. Let's see here. Yeah, this one's 500 watts. That's 500 watts. And that'll go inside the sump. And then inside the tank in the back corner, just like we have here in the 210. I'll have this 800 watt unit. This is a double a double unit. Those are two heating units in one from also from Higer. This one is marketed under the Higer name. Both of them have separate controls that sit outside the tank that allow you to see very clearly what the temperature is and allows you to calibrate so that you're getting a proper reading. I always compare my heaters to a digital heater. This is a 500 watt heater, and this will be inside the tank. So between this and the heater and the sump, I should have plenty heat circulating, and so that's how the tanks will be heated. And I'm picking up a super heavy duty controller from a company called Gemco. They're in Los Angeles. They make this massive heavy duty 2-plug controller. So that'll hang in the back of the tank, and then both heating units will plug into that controller. So there's no chance of the heaters burning, you know, like actually cooking the fish. All right. So the 300 is running right next to me here. I hear it. The water line is still great. The sump water line, which I increased from the video that you saw, is still nice and high. That 7-inch sock is working great. So fingers crossed. I'm going to let it run a little bit longer and see what happens. So let me look at the chat. I'm going to cruise the chat here. I hope I didn't miss any super chats. If I did, thank you so much for that. And let me see if you folks have any questions. Go ahead and ask your questions now. I'll try to address them. Let's see here. Frankie likes his titanium heater. I have that same 800 watt and it works fantastic. Peas and Haps forever. I'll tell you what really impressed me about that heater, Peas and Haps. What impressed me about it was one time I made that classic water change mistake where I kept, I got distracted, and the tank, it actually, the water line came below the top of the heater and it automatically shut off. It sensed that the water line was low, and then the controller on the, it's not really a controller, it's more like a control unit on the outside of the tank, gave a message that the water line was too low and the unit had been shut off for safety reasons. I thought that was amazing. I thought that was very, very cool that they had that technology in there. It's like the C-shaped pumps in the event of the water line dropping. I believe they sense that the water line is down and they shut themselves off so they don't burn out. Even though I think these can run wet or dry, but they have to have water circulating through them. So I think they have a temperature, some type of a temperature circuitry, and if the temperature of the pump rises a little bit, it shuts off the unit because it assumes it's not getting cooled by water. So I just like that kind of technology. Gives you one less thing to worry about. So let's see, GP, yeah, Higer controller starts beeping when it gives you a warning. I mean, great technology, great use of technology. If I do bring the FX6 over to the 300, I'll do the same thing that I have under the 210, right? I'll have it in a Rubbermaid container, and then I'll have a lithium battery powered watchdog sensor, so that if there's any humidity, if the canister ever leaks, right, the watchdog goes off and you get that high shrill alarm. And you can see the watchdog. The watchdogs are like $10 or $12. I'll tell you, it's the best investment you can make. A watchdog water sensor. It sits on the bottom of the Rubbermaid container. It can sit on the bottom of it can be under you on the floor next to your tank. And as soon as water connects the two little circuits, right? It has two little two little pads on the bottom, and if those get connected by water and a circuit occurs, the alarm goes off, and you'll hear it. You'll hear it if you're outside, inside, anywhere in the house. You'll hear it. I assure you, very loud. And at any rate, that's right, KG. It helps when you forget to when you forget, when you're not paying attention. The other trick that I do on water changes, and I've done it on most of my aquariums, like the two here next to me, I have the heaters horizontal near the bottom. Now, sometimes that doesn't look good, so for aesthetic reasons, sometimes people don't like it. I know in discus tanks, you usually want to do it because otherwise they lay eggs on the heater and it can damage them. It can create damage for the fish. So you want the heaters low and horizontal. But if you have them like that, you can leave them on. You can leave them on during a water change, because your water level isn't going to get below the heater. It's going to always be above the heater. Always remember, when you unplug a heater, give it 15 to 20 minutes, and then pull it out. And when you put a new heater in, let it sit in the tank 15 to 20 minutes, and then plug it in. That way, it kind of works its way up and doesn't less chance of actually damaging or cracking it. Robert Egan, thank you for that super chat, my friend. And your question is, you said in Ireland that a cichlid tank has a life expectancy of 5 years. My guys from Planet in Dallas say 15. How do we test that? It's all anecdotal. It's all, I think the rule of thumb is if a tank is 10 years old, you should probably do a reseal. Go ahead and scrape it out on the inside. Don't let that blade get between the sheets of glass. Just scrape out the silicone and just give it a reseal after 10 years. They were talking about people that do large water changes, right? 80%, 90% water change. The fish are swimming and just their dorsal fins are showing. He said, if you do that a lot, he says, you're going to stretch and contract over and over the silicone, and eventually you will accelerate the failure of the joints, right? So I don't know if that's ever been tested. I really don't. And I really wouldn't necessarily worry about it. But I'll tell you, if you use things like algae scrubbers, and let's say you have plants, if you have fish that you can have plants, and you're staying on top of your filter maintenance, you can go 20-25% water change and you're fine. And that could add some life to your tank. Now, if you're getting nitrates out of your tap, and if you haven't tested your tap, test your tap. Because if you're getting nitrates out of your tap, you need to do water changes greater than 50%, or you're not going to get ahead. You're always going to be running behind, and you're going to have what I called in one video, you're going to have nitrate creep. And eventually, one day you're going to test your tank, and you're going to find that your nitrates are 80 to 100. And no need to panic. It's not going to kill your fish, but it's going to make them uncomfortable. So just something to keep in mind. By the way, what did you think about the way they build those stands in Ireland? And all of the stands inside the aquarium shop were also built with that aluminum skeleton reinforcement, and then the wood hung on it so that it never warps, it never collapses, it never settles. It stays true to the shape of the aluminum frame. I just thought that was awesome. I also love adjustable feet so that you really get that frame nice and level, and then put the aquarium on, as opposed to using all kinds of things to try and get it to be level. So, Vibes Aquatics, no, I will not be going to Triple Crown. I'm going to be kind of hanging back from shows for a little while. And then I will, once I get this 300 running, I get the 210 set up with river rock, that large piece of driftwood, and then I get the most aggressive fish in the 90, the Salvini, get maybe the Nicaragua, the Jack Dempsey, and get those fish, bring them over to maybe the Cichlids, they're holding their own, and leave the red shoulder in there, leave the Geophagus in there, leave the AC Hecali in there, but bring the more aggressive fish over to this tank. Meanwhile, I'm growing out a green terror, right? And I want to add a red tiger Oscar, maybe a lemon Oscar. Did you see the black and white Oscars in Ireland in that last installment? Oh, they're gorgeous, gorgeous fish. Anyway, all right, let's see. Any other questions? Go ahead. Thanks for that super chat, Vibes. And I hope I answered your question on that Triple Crown. And I will not, and of course, I think Aquashella Dallas is another one I'd love to go to, but I'm not going to. All right, let's see. I'm cruising the chat. Any questions? Ask them now. Yeah, John, I agree. That aquarium building shop, that guy was a real modest craftsman, and his aquariums were absolutely gorgeous. His overflow boxes, if you saw that one shot of the that overflow box that was going to be part of that sump system, just beautiful craftsmanship, and I was very impressed. That stand blew me away. With the fans in the back, like a computer, right, that move moisture and CO2 out, and the sealed compartment for electronics, and it was just really, really well thought out. I was very impressed. Denny, hey Denny, good to see you, buddy. I was this close. My wife and I were looking at hotel reservations for the ACA in Kentucky, closest it's been, and again. It came down to moolah, green, cheddar, lettuce, bucks, Benjamins. We looked at the money, the cost of it, versus what I have coming up. I'm not done buying things for the 300, and so no, I'm not going to be going to ACA. As much as I know, I'd love being there and enjoy it. So no, I'm not going to be going. All right. Any other questions? Now is the time to ask them. I think we're actually running 15 minutes over the hour, and I appreciate you folks spending your Saturdays with me, spending a little bit of it. I know you folks are busy. It's 100 degrees here in Nashville, so I was planning on being indoors all day anyway. The Salvini is digging a massive hole in the very middle of the aquarium. And I think he's going to create a cave-in. He's going to have a rock and a piece of driftwood and a cave come crashing down. I can show it to you. Let me see. You see him moving the dirt? I guess you'd call it moving the substrate. That's a female. The female Salvinis have the red belly. And she is a beauty. The Nicaragua on the far left is also a female. And so is the Jack Dempsey. They happen to be the more colorful, unlike African cichlids where the males have the color in most, 98% of the cases. The Jack Dempseys, Salvinis, Nicaraguas, the females have the better color combinations. You can see how deep that hole is. The Salvini just disappears altogether. He keeps moving dirt out. And then when I do a water change, I fill it up. One of these days, she's going to bite me. There's that giant electric blue Acara that I picked up from John here in Nashville. He just goes back and forth, back and forth. Actually, that's the green tear right there. The Acara is on the far right side. I've got a light set up there. Yeah, he's hiding behind that light pole. There he goes. Just a beautiful fish. Hey, look at that. There's the fire mouth. Very shy, rarely comes out. But absolutely gorgeous. All right. I think I've used up enough of your time, and I appreciate you folks being here. Thank you to you super chatters. Thank you to those who subscribed and gave it a thumbs up. Thank you to my wonderful Patreons and my awesome moderators. And stay tuned. In about 2 weeks or so, we'll go ahead and do that giveaway, give away some good stuff. And maybe I'll hit up James, and maybe he'll give us a few discount or a few fish coupons. And unfortunately, moderators can't participate in these giveaways. It seems kind of funny when they win, and so we're not going to do that. And that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. You are the best. You rock. And I'll say this for the replay that's going to post to YouTube. If you'd like to watch every live stream, check out the videos that I'm going to be posting up here, right there. I'll put a link on the video after it posts to YouTube for every live stream, and then best fish keeping tips. I'll put those right there, and you can watch those as well. Okay. Hey, Whips World comes in with a super chat. Thank you, my friend. And that's it for me. You rock, my friends. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.